Hey, friends. Welcome to the Self Love Strong podcast. I'm super excited you guys are here. Today, we are honored to welcome Kaya Bell, a self improvement mentor specializing in NLP and hypnosis. Kaya has defined incredible odds, overcoming brain tumors, navigating divorce, experiencing the loss of loved ones, and successfully running 3 businesses while being a single mom. Her journey is one of resilience, transformation, and stepping fully into your purpose. Kaya, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks, Sam, for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's truly an honor. But just to hear that introduction, your story is truly inspiring. Can you take us back to the beginning and share what led up to you in this journey of self improvement?
My journey of self-improvement actually started probably, I reckon, 2000 and maybe 2016. I started looking down the lines of becoming a life coach. I'd sort of ummed and ahed with it for a little while, looked at it, put it away, looked at it, put it away. And then in 2018, after having, we'll go back to 2016, I actually was diagnosed with a brain tumour. Within months, not even months, weeks, I was having brain surgery. I was being rolled down a corridor, watching lights flick past, and literally my life was shown to me that, when you're faced with such empowering thoughts that are, either I'm not going to come through this, my child's not going to have a mother, I'm not going to be able to talk, I'm not going to be able to walk. My other passion is riding horses. I'll never be able to do that again. It really makes you look at life differently when you go through 8 hours of brain surgery and you wake up and you're talking, for starters. You don't have much memory, but that's okay. And you're able to talk to your child that is your world, that is sitting there by your hospital bed and your mother waiting for you to wake up. It makes you realise that life is so short, and that it's time to make changes now, not keep waiting and putting things off. So as I woke up and I recovered from my brain surgery over the next 18 months, because that's sort of the recovery period, once my memory really came back, I thought, there's something bigger for me, there's something better for me. And I started my transformation then. After the initial brain surgery, I ended up falling pregnant to my beautiful little girl. She's my little miracle. And the relationship I was in was torn apart, so to speak, very, very quickly. And I was again faced as a single mother of 2 children, a son that was 15, and a daughter that was just 18 months old. I was then faced with the challenge as a single mum. I wasn't currently working, to somehow find money to pay rent to start to make life work again. I don't know why I said yes. I worked out how later. I rang this package that I had been umming and ahhing over for the last probably 3 or 4 years. And I rang them and I signed up to a $20,000 self-development package for not only it was more for me at the time, but I knew that what I learned at that time I could then put out to the world and help other people in my same situation. So I signed up to this $20,000 package. I had no idea where I was going to pay for it. I still couldn't pay the rent. But, it was just like the universe just worked with me. It just all worked together. And somehow I managed to do all that. I was then hit with the passing of 4 people in 4 people in the space of less than 10 months. Over this 10 months, the first was losing my mum. I'd actually signed up to start the first weekend of my training I had to cancel. I was getting ready, all pumped up, ready to go. My first weekend of starting to be a life coach, and I was like, my world's changing. I got a phone call from my mum at, I think it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. She was in hospital. She'd fallen out of her bed and hit her head and had a brain bleed. I ended up leaving there, going to my mum's side. Little did I know, sorry if I get a bit emotional here, little did I know, 6 weeks later, my mum actually passed away. My mum was everything to me. She was my rock. She was my person by the side. She was my mentor. She always stood by every single thing I had, and she gave me the strength and the power that I have today to just keep moving forward, and that resilience to just keep pushing forward, because life can try and hold us back, but we can either bow down to it or we can just keep pushing through it. My mum had 3 autoimmune diseases. She was only given 8 years to live. I didn't know this until her funeral. She was only given 8 years to live. She lived for 25 years. And that was just because of her inner strength, her inner resilience to just keep pushing forward and keep going, you know what, I'm not giving into this. And I thank her every day for giving me that strength and that power, and showing me right through her life that, you know, nothing's going to come to you on a platter. If you don't want it, no one's going to give it to you. You've got to make those changes. You've got to push forward to do it. So losing mum, my decision in myself and my strength in myself was to have my master's in life coaching, hypnosis and NLP, to have it completed within 12 months. That was my aim. That was, mum passed away in May of 2022. By June of 2023, I had my master's I had completed my 12-month course in masters. Now, in that time, unfortunately, I was faced with more pain, grief. Only 3 months after losing mum, I then lost my nana, which was my other mentor. After that, I then lost a personal friend who was very, very close to me. That was only 2 months later. And then after that, I know this sounds funny, but I lost my lifelong friend of my horse that I had for 27 years. Now, the heartache for losing him was, he was originally mum's horse, and he had been given to me to ride, to campaign, to train. I managed to train him right up through the grades. And to lose him was like another blow to losing my mum, because I had then lost everything completely. I pulled through all this, and in this time I still managed to get my master's in life coaching, NLP, hypnotherapy. Now, I believe that if I had not pushed myself to do this inner healing at the same time as losing these 4 hugely inspirational people in my life, I would not be where I am today. My kids would not have a mother. My 6-year-old would have a very broken person to look up to, which is not what I want her to look up to. So as I navigated through all that, and knowing that I then had another brain tumour that had developed after my daughter was born in 2018 and had just been on monitoring, I continued through, I pushed through, I did the healing I could do, and I continue to do this healing and self-development, because I just don't think we can actually have enough. There's always things that come up that we always need to deal with, things from the past. Just last week, I had to go and have more brain scans, which are I have them every 12 months. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I can get released. It can all be fine. It's all gone. No more, no more, no more. Unfortunately, I was dealt with another blow. It is back again, and it's not far off the size that they had to remove the last one. And over the next 12 months, if I start to have symptoms, unfortunately, I will have to go under the knife again. I will have to have this removed. It sits on a basically is what we call the pontomedullary junction. They call it the superhighway. It's pretty much where the brainstem actually meets the brain, and there's like a little area in there, and that's where this tumor is growing. Now, as it gets bigger, it will push on my spinal cord. I will start to get symptoms of losing weight, losing feeling down my leg, down my right side. My first one, I knew that I had that because I lost the hearing in my right ear, and that's what they were actually investigating when they actually found the first lot of the brain tumor. Now, I can either bow down to this and turn around and go, my world is ending, or I can go, you know what? I can just keep fighting. I can just keep pushing through. I can keep doing what I'm doing. I can keep helping people. I can keep healing myself. And with healing myself, I'm not only healing myself, I'm healing my kids, I'm healing my family, I'm healing my friends, I'm healing everyone around me. And that's, to me, that's so empowering and so giving, that my knowledge and my training can actually help so many other people who are faced with what I was faced with. Not just the tumors and the loss and the grief, but also navigating life as a single mother. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I picked the wrong ex-husband. I very much picked the wrong ex-husband in the fact that my son, I had no financial support for my son. But somehow I put this child through private education. I worked full time. I made it work. I gave him the future I could. And my daughter, her father was incarcerated. So unfortunately, again, I'm slumped with being a single mum and financially supporting her fully. But I'm proud to say I am putting my daughter through the same private education. She's getting exactly the same as my son did. And that only comes from my inner strength to work, to provide them with the things that I value for them in creating them to be the best person they can. And one thing I did learn, I'm lucky I have 15 years between both of my kids. The biggest thing I learned was from my son. I worked hard. I was actually a prison officer, so in a male prison. I worked hard. I did the 6 days, 12-hour shifts. I worked hard. I did all the overtime to get into private schools. I did all that. I did the grind. I was lucky enough to have the support of my mum and dad, who also helped me with getting to and from school and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I did learn from my son to my daughter was that my son, growing up later, he's now 21. So we now have a lot of in-depth conversations. And growing up, even though he had everything, and that for me was love, me giving him everything I possibly could, giving him all the best schools, clothes, having a roof over his head, what he missed the most was mum being home. And that was the hardest thing for me, because I thought I had given him all the love by giving him everything. But he interpreted it so much different. He just wanted mum home. Yeah. So I'm so lucky now to get a second chance with my daughter. And now I run 3 businesses from home where I can be with her as much as I want. I am lucky enough to be able to divide my time between all the passions that I love. So my riding, I'm so lucky to be able to teach people to ride, and it's a passion I love. My coaching of helping people, I do a lot of it from home, and my NLP and hypnosis, I do it from home. So I go, you know what, if I don't want to work, I work between 10 and 2 so that after school is time with my daughter. And as a single mum, I think we get lost. We get so stuck in trying to provide for our kids. And trust me, I am with everyone and I know exactly how hard it is. And I'm not sugarcoating anything. There's been times when, yes, I've eaten 2-minute noodles and my daughter's had bread and Vegemite for lunches and stuff like that. And we've struggled to pay the rent, or we've struggled, I've nearly had cars repossessed. It gets hard. It does get hard. But the reality is there is always a way. There's always a solution. And we just need to look outside the box. We need to just look a little bit further and not get stuck in the moment of the emotions of debt and grief and pain and suffering and victimhood and all of these things, that it's very, very easy to get lost in those emotions when things just aren't going right. And for, I would happily say, 7, 8 years, things didn't go right for me. It was one after the other, bang, 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 constantly. But our strength inside is what pulls us through.
Yes.
And this is why now I help people find their strength. I help them grow. I help them get stronger. I help them see that they are worthy. There's values in there. They've just lost them. They've lost them because they're clouded with everything that's going on in the world. And sometimes if we just center ourselves, come back to our own inner peace, inner health, inner healing, we actually find all the answers. Every single answer is within us. But we just got to want to. The biggest thing is we need to want to. And that pile, for lack of better words, that pile of shit can get so high. We just need to knock it down. We need to climb over it. We need to get over it and slide down the other side, because once we've slid down the other side, that's it. It's gone. We've gone past it. But the more we keep trying to push it down, the harder it comes up. It just comes up, and then we push it down, it comes up again, and eventually we crash. And it's when we're crashing that we make that choice to either slide back down the left side or slide down the right side. And when we slide down the right side, our life just goes forward in so many directions. And the journey can just continue to grow as we make these changes to actually look after ourselves. Sometimes we need to be a little bit selfish. Yes, we have kids, but sometimes we need to be a little bit selfish and go, you know what? If I heal me, I actually heal my kids. I'm healing me for them.
Yes. Wow, that is beautiful. So awesome, Kaya. I mean, wow. I love what you said right there. Is when I heal myself, I heal my kids. I think it's a big part of just really realizing that you said you're worthy and you're enough. And that when you put that work in yourself, it not only benefits you, but it benefits everyone else as well. But I love, you have, but many people struggle to push through adversity. How did you develop that resilience to keep going, and what mindset shift helped you the most with that process?
I think the mind shift that I had that actually really helped me forward 100% was actually the use of NLP and the use of hypnotherapy. Now, the use of NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So basically that's how the brain is wired. And we all think, my ex-partner used to say, it's in my DNA. It's just me. It's in my DNA. I can't change. It's in my DNA. And, so many of us actually have that thought pattern. It's absolutely not. We don't have to stick with what we think we know is right. We can rewire our brain, and this part gets me really excited because I'm now going down the lines of neuroscience and neuroplasticity, and it's just phenomenal the power our mind has to regenerate, regrow, and rebuild. And I guess the best way I can explain the rewiring process is, I'm assuming they do it over in Texas. Over here we have a big cattle stations and farms, so lots of acres. And all the cows, all the sheep, they all walk one path. So they just route out one path. And then one day, one sheep decides to take a different path. And then the next one takes a different path. And then eventually, they all take the second path. It might be to dodge a rock, it might be to dodge a hole or a creek, but eventually they'll start taking that second path. And basically what we're doing in our brain is, even if we've got a habit, if we continue to take that path, it only takes one change to take another path, and then a little bit more to take that next path. And when we start taking that next path, it actually gets easier and easier and easier. And also, I challenge everyone, brush your teeth with the wrong hand. That will show you just how set you are in your ways. Just how set you are in your ways. And it will seem really weird. It will seem really funny at the time, and you'll sit there and you'll like hit your mouth and hit your tongue, and it's really odd. But if you keep doing it, within about 7 days, it actually feels normal, because what you're doing is you're rerouting that network. And the more we reroute that network, the more habit it becomes, and we've basically just recreated the change. However, we need to know that it takes at least 68 times for this to happen, of this new change.
Yeah.
So 68 times you need to brush your teeth with the wrong hand for it to become natural. But it's a brilliant little test to really see the change of how we can change those pathways.
Wow, that is so powerful. I really love something you said there. Is, it's kind of funny here in Texas, we say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I think we carry that into our lives the entire time, thinking, hey, things have always been like this. They can't get any better, or things can't change. But I really love how you talked about right there, even brushing your teeth with the wrong hand, right? It's those simple things. But I think the powerful thing is you said it takes 68 days. And when I think of that, I'm Sam, I'm trying to make a change in my life. Kaya, I'm trying to make a change in my life. But I did it one time, right? And we did that one time thinking it would change our lives. But I love how you said it's a process to change your life.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can rewire it, maybe you've been giving your power away to other people, saying, hey, I've been born like this. I can't change. Like you said, you've heard others say, I was born this way. There's no way I can change. But I love the fact that you said we can neuropathically change how we do our lives. Is that how you would say you would explain how NLP and hypnosis work? Is that could you explain how people can, how those NLP and hypnosis can transform your life? Is that the strategy of that?
It is. Look, the NLP is the rewiring of the brain, basically. So it's the neuro, which is brain, linguistic, which is the language we speak to the brain, okay, and the program, which is the program. Now, when you go really deep into this, a lot of it is our own self-talk. Neuro-linguistic programming is our own self-talk, us telling ourselves that we're fat or we're ugly or that we can't do it or that we're no good, we don't deserve it, we're not worthy, and all these other negative things that we have within ourselves that we constantly tell ourselves without even coming out of our mouth. And if we realize that we actually run ourselves down so much unconsciously in our own head, we just constantly do it. And how can we be happy and feel worthy and joyful and loved if we're constantly running ourselves down by negative thought patterns? So neuro-linguistic programming is changing those thought patterns as well. So we stop saying these negative things to ourselves. We change them for the good things and the positive things and the more worthy things. So the NLP will reprogram those sorts of things. Now, that's generally done through coaching as well. NLP works really, really fast. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's so quick. Within 5-10 minutes or one session, someone who's held on to grief of the loss of their loved one, and which is normally pain, resentment, guilt, hurt, all of these emotions, with one grief clearing, we can actually clear all of that. Wow. We can take years and years of pain away from just these simple processes. But you have to be ready. You have to want to change. This is the biggest thing with NLP and hypnosis. You've got to want that change and go, you know what? I'm done with that pile of shit being so high. Let's flatten it. Let's get rid of it completely. You've got to take steps to make the change. Now, the use of hypnosis, It's not all woo-woo. It's not all stage, cluck like a chicken, all that sort of stuff, which is what everyone thinks. Hypnosis, oh no, you're going to make me cluck like a chicken or do something I don't want to do. It is absolutely not like that. Through the use of clinical hypnotherapy and conscious hypnotherapy, what we do is we all have things that we want to change. So the use of hypnotherapy, we put our clients into a trance-like, so they're not asleep, they're not, and often they don't remember it. They're just sitting at that sort of dreamy level, I'd like to say. Yeah. I can go deeper into it, but most people don't understand the deepness of that. Yeah. So they're just sort of at that dreamy level. It's a lot of visualization. We often see a path, and we create a path in our mind, which is a little bit back to the NLP. So they do link together, and then we create a path. We create a little journey. We take ourselves on a journey of where we want to be. And then through the use of subconscious suggestions, because when we go into that level, I can then talk to your subconscious mind. So, for instance, if you come to me and say, look, I really want to stop smoking. So through subconscious suggestions, I say, okay, so when you're around people that smoke, you're going to feel sick. You're going to feel nauseous. And you know what? The people are like, oh my God, what have you done to me? I feel gross. I'm like, but did you smoke? And they're like, no. I walked away. Through subconscious suggestions, we start to recreate those same changes in pathways, which links back to the NLP. But they're done at a slightly deeper level that we don't realize we're actually doing. We don't need to really make a conscious effort to go, you know what, I'm not going to. Because at a subconscious level, our brain has already gone, no, you're not going to. So the use of the two combined with coaching, which is what I do, the three modalities are just super powerful working together to be able to recreate the life that you want. And all the answers are in us. Every answer we have to problems is all in our own heads. We just often get so clouded, and we logic kicks in and we go, well, no, I can't have that. Or for instance, I just did the Tony Robbins Time to Rise, and everyone on that is like, oh, I can't afford it. I can't this, I can't that. And, you know, while you have that thought pattern of can't, this is the simple change we can make. While we have a thought pattern of can't, it's never going to happen. We need to change our thought pattern to, if, for instance, we can't afford it that week, we go, you know what, I'll do the next one. Change the thought pattern we have. You might not be able to afford it now. And trust me, I did the Time to Rise last year. Oh, sorry, I'll go back. Originally, I wanted to do Tony Robbins Come to Sydney. And through my mum's will being contested and me needing to be in court, I was unable to do the Sydney one, which was great because it was at home, so nice and close. I then literally stumbled across the Time to Rise only 2 days before it happened. And I thought, oh, okay. Yeah. So this is the universe working towards giving me what I needed to move forward. I really moved forward with this. And then I did this. I did the Time to Rise, and I had this fantastic offer at the end, and I'm just like, looked at my bank balance and I went, oh. And you know what? Instantly I said, I'm just going to find a way. I will find a way. Now, the universe heard me say I will find a way. And I had 3 things on Facebook. I don't know if you have Marketplace over there, which is basically a sales platform on Facebook. I don't know if it's worldwide, but I'm assuming it is. I had 3 things on Marketplace. Now, the conversion from US to Australian dollar is pretty much double. So I thought, yeah, $400, I can do that. And then I realised, I need $800. That's okay. That was fine. Every single thing I had on Marketplace, I sold. Total $850. Yep, in that day. Wow. And I went, okay, there is my message. And this is what I say, when you make a choice, if it's meant to be, it'll be. So bought my first ticket to unleash the power within. Oh, amazing. Just so empowering, so growth, so much growth happened in those 4 days of UPW. As much as I would have loved to have been there in person, and I woke up the whole household through the night, through the night with all the energy that I had, because in WA, our lovely time zone made it 3 a.m. I think we started at 9 p.m. and we finished at I think 9 or 10 some days, and then 11 till it was awful. But you know what? I pushed through. I pulled all-nighters, and even after that, it was just like another release. It was like another step forward for me, and I went. I just felt lighter. I felt cleaner. I felt more direction, and I just did the Time to Rise again, just this last session, and it was just like everything just went bang. Here you go. This is all here again, and it sort of almost reignited me to move forward and to keep going. And my next plans are Joe Dispenza, one of his advanced retreats. So, but I think people need to realise that the personal growth and the personal development, it never stops. We need to keep going. It's not a matter of, like you said, it's not a matter of just do it once and then it's done. It's a matter of sticking to these decisions to lead a better life, to be better for your kids, your parents, whatever, whoever you need, whoever is your biggest driving force. That's who you use to empower you to move through and make these changes.
Wow, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I really love something you said there. You said, just how that change continuum is. Like, I really love NLP because I think so many times we are giving our, what you're saying is super important is what you're saying to yourself. And I think we don't really, I love how you're talking about being aware of what you're saying to yourself. I think that NLP allows you to do that. I think that's what you were saying is like, really the things that we're saying to ourselves is we're looking for change to happen outside of us. But I love the fact you were saying it's within your power to choose the inner narrative. That what are you saying to yourself that's really holding you back? Maybe you feel like that I can't change myself because so and so placed me here. But I love how you said real change starts with you making a choice. I think that's so powerful because maybe you're sitting here listening to Kaya's amazing speech here or what her story and feel like change is something that I can't even see myself possible for me. But maybe that's the narrative you're saying to yourself. Maybe you find yourself saying, I can't change. But like Kaya saying, you have the power to change your life, but it comes with something super important. She told you there is the key ingredient is making that decision and taking that action that you can change. Would you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing I learned, I took away from my training is say yes and how will come later. You don't need to know how it's going to change. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to say yes. And through my life, I said yes to doing this course. I said yes to doing the UPW. I said yes to making this. And you know what? How came? And just like another little situation that happened with me while I did another course of hypnosis training because I'm just so into the hypnosis. I love it. And it was called Top Gun Hypnosis. It was phenomenal. Anyway, leading up to this, I live in Western Australia. Of course, everything is on the East Coast. So for me to do stuff, it's an aeroplane. So I needed to catch the aeroplane to the Eastern States and then do my 7 days course. Now, what happened? I had 3 key things happen on literally the day before. So we started with my tickets to get there. And I thought, no, it's not going to work. I'm not sure how I'm going to make this work. Just finances weren't just aligning. Anyway, so I sat there and went, okay, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, no, I just can't make it. I was talking myself into the fact that I wasn't going to get there. Anyway, I got an email from the organizer saying, you've been asked and hand selected to go to this course. If you don't do this, you will not get a second chance. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not even going to be able to do this again. So anyway, I'm not going to be able to do this again. Anyway, so I sit there and go, oh, okay, I need to find some money here. Need to find $700 in airfares. Okay, let's work this out. Anyway, found the money for the airfares. Okay, that's done. That's one thing done. We can do this. Anyway, booked the accommodation because I was on a tight budget. I thought, okay, we'll go for an Airbnb. I was trying to find the cheapest alternative I possibly can. Booked an Airbnb. The day before I left, they cancelled on me. And I'm like, oh, I have no accommodation. I really can't afford the extra money. How am I going to do this? The hotel that was near the accommodation was completely booked out. I had no accommodation. It was literally the only hotel in the area. Anyway, I thought, okay, it's all right. The plane's sorted. Let's get on the aeroplane. Oh, that's how I afforded my tickets. I had frequent flyer points. I just remembered. So I had frequent flyer points, which with Qantas, and I had a heap of Virgin points. So my ticket over, I flew first class ever, first time ever in my life. With Virgin, it didn't cost me anything, so that ticket was free. And then I flew back by Qantas with my points, first class. That ticket cost me nothing. And then, so my first two first class tickets, it just popped into my head when I'm sitting there going, I can't do this. Popped into my head. That's how I afforded it. Anyway, the accommodation, I thought, you know what, just get there, we'll work it out. I walked in there and I walked into the hotel and I said, look, this is what's happened. She said, Kaya, we literally just had someone cancel an hour ago.
Wow.
That room is yours.
Wow.
Yep. And again, this is just the universe working for me. It's when things are meant to be, everything will work out. And I think sometimes we just need to, we need to trust. We need to trust the process and trust the decisions that we are making are the right decisions. And that comes down to choice. Look, I could have backed down. I could have gone, this is too hard. It's not working. But I pushed through and went, you know what? My desire to get this done is what's going to make it work. And it all lined up. I got there. I did my course. And that was just through me saying yes in the beginning. Yes, I'm going to do this, and not backing down and finding a way to make it all work. And my latest thing is the Joe Dispenza. I wanted to go in April. I've just found out that they're fully booked, but I'm on the wait list, so I know that that's going to come through.
I love that. I love that spirit of anticipation that you just putting it out there. I think what's so powerful, you said something, is saying yes and letting the how take care of itself.
Yeah.
Because usually we're in this situation, you're going through a challenge, you're wanting things to go a certain way, but we plan so much that we never really fully say yes. And there's something so powerful there. That yes is that first action. You're saying, I'm going to say yes to the possibilities, yes to the opportunities, and letting the how figure out itself, not letting procrastination hold me back, not letting fear or doubt that the situation will even work out, but just simply saying yes is that first key, and believing in that possibility. I think that's such a hard thing to do when you're in the middle of a challenge, right? Or in the middle of something that some people are very planning. You're like, I want to plan everything, Kai. I want to plan it. But it's just, it's saying yes can be so powerful and is key to the process. I think it's something that's truly awesome in itself. Like to figure out how the universe is, working its way out for you, but you're putting that first yes to the possibilities. I think it's awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. Look, life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. So even when I look at all the things that have gone wrong in my life, and I go, okay, I got married, it didn't work out. I have a beautiful son out of it. I had a brain tumor. I had some absolute major life-changing things happen. I got divorced. That's okay because I met someone else and I had my beautiful daughter. So everything happens for a reason. And the quote I love the most is a reason, a season, and a lifetime. Every single thing that happens for a reason. It happens to change the season, or it happens for a lifetime of changes. And I think sometimes we get so lost in the emotion of pain and negativity that we can't see a reason. We can't see a glimpse of silver lining in there. And, you know, I had a hugely, very high paying job as a prison officer, as a single mum. Like, it was a brilliant paying job. I was taking home $110,000 a year and putting my son through school, and it was perfect. Now, I ended up leaving that job through workplace bullying. The environment was toxic. It was drowning, and my mental health was just draining every energy out of me. I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And after 12 months, I had the option to go back, and I just sat back and I looked at my life and went, you know, that's not the person I want to be. That's not the environment I want to be around. So I threw away $110,000 a year because it wasn't what I wanted to be. The thing is, I loved the job. I would do overtime. It was a job I absolutely loved because I knew that it only took me talking to one or two people of these prisoners who had wrong lives to actually change their lives. And funny thing, I was moving forward a couple of years after I left the system. I was doing a market and two prisoners come past and they're like, Miss Bell. And I'm like, I haven't heard that in a while. Anyway, they come up and they had a chat with me, and I just chatting. I'm like, I see you boys, how you doing? You're still out and you've been back or whatever. He goes, no, Miss Bell, you know what? Because I used to work in the kitchen and do a few things. I said, you know what? Something you said to me, I have never been back. I said, you said something that changed my pattern. And I went, oh, wow. And I just get shivers now because your words can change someone's life immensely. And it's my hope that doing this podcast and me being vulnerable with the life that I've had, people will go, you know what? I can change. I can make a difference. I can be that person I want to be. I don't have to be held back by my past or my parents or my generation curse or my DNA or anything like that. I have the choice to change. I have the choice to grow. And those little things and those choices may seem so hard at the time, but once again, say yes, how will come.
Yes, I love that. I really, really love that, man. That is so powerful, guy. I mean, like you said, you can change somebody's life, and I really love something you said there. Is, you know, it's really sometimes you feel stuck in that situation, but I love how you chose yourself. You chose love. You like realize like I don't want to be that person anymore, and I think that's so awesome that you had the power to do that. I know sometimes you're like that must have been a hard decision. You said you enjoyed the job, it paid the bills, but we have a choice. You wanted to change your destiny there. And if somebody, I think that's so powerful. So if somebody feels stuck and powerless in their life right now, what would you say is the first step that they can take towards empowering themselves?
I think the very first thing you can take, and this is what I do with my coaching as well as everything else, is sit down and set out, okay, what are your values? What things do you value in life? Is it kindness? Is it love? Is it respect? Pick 5 values that you really, really want in your life. Then take those values and look at, okay, do the rules in my life actually match those values? Am I actually, if I want love, am I helping love by actually being a loving person and loving myself? Or am I resisting love by being a negative person and not a nice person? If the rules and the values don't match up, then how can we actually hit our value in life? And then I think once we've developed our values, we then need to sit back and go, you know what are my strengths? Because our strengths get so lost in negativity in the things that we can't do. But when we identify our strengths, that, for instance, if I asked you what your strengths are, what are your strengths?
Oh, I think connecting people, staying positive through challenges.
Yeah, so there's two strengths that you can use in everything. They work. Connecting people, that's just networking. That's just actually going out and talking. And this is where, if we identify and we go, oh, that's the strength I have of being a good person and being able to do that. So once we identify our strengths, we can then start to use them. And we use them in a positive way by getting out there. So I think the main thing is finding your values, identifying your values, and making sure your rules actually create the value that you wish. Because if they don't align, then you can't get there. And then also finding your strengths. With your strengths, they power your values.
Ooh.
Once we identify strengths, our values then have power.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful. I think many times I love the fact that you said values, because I believe the same thing. I believe when it comes to your values, if you don't identify them, somebody will identify them for you, right? Many times the people are telling you the values, but I love how you said that it's a two-part fold thing. It's like, not only now that I know my values, those things that are important to me and that really won't change, it's knowing your strengths as well. It's so powerful. I think that's that's a strong foundation of just really knowing what you want.
100%. And people say to me, well, hang on, how do I identify these things? And this sounds really, really, really crazy and a bit woo-woo out there, but our subconscious knows exactly what they are. So, for instance, if I asked you or anyone, think of a number between 1 and 10, a number would instantly come to our mind, generally. So whatever it is, it is. Then I say to them, okay, what is your top strength? That strength and that emotion will instantly come to your mind. So what is your top strength? What is your second strength? And what is next? And eventually you'll go, oh, there's my 5 most powerful strengths, because your subconscious actually knows it. It knows exactly what they are. We need to trust the very first answer that comes to our mind and not question it. When we start questioning it, that's all we go, hang on, I'm thinking about it. That's when logic is coming in and it's knocking it back. So we don't want to think about it. We just want to go, okay, answer the question instantly. That instant answer is your answer. That is the right answer. It's like that gut feeling inside that you get that things aren't quite right. That's your intuition as well. That's working as saying, okay, things aren't right. If you then ask your subconscious, hang on, what's going on? You'll get an instant answer. And what this is actually an inner power. Listening to your unconscious mind is an inner power that we all have within us as soon as we start to listen to it.
Wow, that is so powerful. Man, Kaya, I just can't be more thankful that our paths have crossed, and just the knowledge you're sharing, and just thank you so much for being so vulnerable and really telling your truth, your story of resilience, and just realizing the power that we have, and then maybe the power that we're giving away by letting other people pick your values or not really identifying your strengths. I think that's a great quality, is because I think maybe you find yourself wondering why you're so confident in situations, right? But you realize that's a strength for you. And I think that's so awesome to acknowledge those.
100%. And it's confidence is one that most people don't have. And some of us, we go out and be extra bubbly because that's our confidence, but also that's sometimes a fear hiding in there, that it's normally a fear of judgment, fear of criticism. There's the 6 main fears, and when we start to clear some of those fears, the confidence just, it just comes out of people, and they grow and they expand, and you're like, oh, where was that person hiding? And to a degree, I feel like that's what's happened to me. My big fear before was actually sitting in front of a camera. You wouldn't catch me doing lives or taking photos and all that sort of stuff. That wasn't in me. And now I just go, you know what? Grab onto that. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to work forward. It's an opportunity to confront your fear and push through it a little bit more. And when we start pushing through those, we use our strengths, we use our powers to make sure we actually get to the other side and slide down the pile of shit, basically, to make the changes.
Yeah. Yes, that's so powerful. Man, wow. I know we're in the process. I just want to give people this opportunity, let you know, I know you're in the process of, setting up a site and stuff, but I want to let people know that, hey, I'm going to put all our Kaya's information at the bottom of this video when we do get it, because she's an amazing person to connect with. And I think this is super cool. It's for the fact that I'm here in Texas and she is actually in Australia, correct?
Oh yeah, in Australia, and it's nice to have a 30. I think we're up to 35 degrees. We had 44 last week. Very hot weather over here, but it really is a beautiful country, and it's amazing to be able to do these sorts of things in other countries. And I know for me, it's 9:15 in the morning, and it's midnight for you or something like that. So there's a huge time difference, but all of this sort of stuff, the best part about this technology now is I operate over Zoom. I operate in person in Australia or around home, but I also operate in Zoom all over the country or all over the world. I'd love to be able to touch base with people on all over the world and just grow bigger and better and help more people. That's my aim, to help as many people as I possibly can, and just empower people to be who they really want to be inside. Because you know what? The only person stopping anyone from being who they want to be, let's be real, let's be honest, let's be raw, it's you. The only person stopping you from your greatness is you and this thing up here and that inner voice. Because we all can be who we absolutely want to be. We just need to do it. My website is in the process of being done. It should be done in the next week or two. And through that, you'll have coaching tips, we'll have blogs, we're actually going to have online hypnosis as well, which will be downloadable, stuff like that. Lots of things happening on this side. But if anyone wants to connect, more than happy for them to connect via Facebook, or my business is Closing Loops Coaching. There's also a Facebook page for that.
Awesome. So you hear that right there, guys. Make sure you're following Kaya. I mean, so much knowledge. And just that spirit of service of wanting to see you get better. So make sure you follow her on her socials. I'm going to put all of her socials down below so you can follow her, like her page, and follow on that website. But there's something we want to leave you with here. Is I love she said it. She says, start saying yes right here, friends. I want you to think about your goals, those dreams, those things you're looking to achieve. And it's time to start saying yes. Like I said, start saying yes and let the how take care of itself. Yeah. All right, friends. Yeah. I'm super thankful for you guys. Y'all have an amazing rest of the day. Make sure you click on those links below and follow Kaya on all her socials and reach out to her. She has a gift and she's ready to share it with you. All right, friends. Take care.